Tradoon.
Glue is cheap.
Tradoon.
Dinosaurs were the sort of creatures you might think of as inhabiting another planet, or the kind you dream of in a bad nightmare.
Tradoon. 5, 6 feet high. I'm guessing 9 feet long. Look at the extraordinary... What'd you do?
He touched it. Dr. Grant's not mission compatible.
He got it in for me. And look at the half-moon-shaped bones on the wrists. No wonder these guys learn how to fly. No, seriously. All right. Well, maybe dinosaurs have more in common with present-day birds than they do with reptiles.
That doesn't look very scary. More like a 6-foot turkey.
Turkey,
Turkey.
6-foot turkey. Turkey, huh? 6-foot turkey. Okay. Try to imagine yourself in the Cretaceous period. Try to imagine yourself in the Cretaceous period. Imagine yourself in the Cretaceous period. You get your first look at this 6-foot turkey as you enter a clearing.
A secret moment in the very beginning of this strange dinosaur's life.
Okay, looks like we're back on.
If you're feeling a bit cheated, try
Okay. Okay. I appreciate those bits there, Golganek. Thank you, thank you. Excellent. Yeah. Are we back? I was able to switch it to 720p. Hopefully that helps. Hello, Ios. Thank you so much. That's because of you that this is working now, I think. Excellent. Yeah. Well, very, very nice. 5-5. Thank you, Claire Bird. That means it's good, right? Yeah. Excellent. Well, well, well. Welcome, everybody, to Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park. Now, let me pause our music real quick. You probably won't be able to hear any nature sounds here. The sun is just going down. I'm here in Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park, here in central Nevada. And, yeah, man, has it been a long day. Like I was saying, it took me about 3 hours longer to pack than I thought it was going to take. So I ended up leaving about 3 hours later than I thought I was going to leave. And, but anyway, it was it's been a good day so far. I went and saw Nana Tyrannus on my way out. Saw my grandmother. And actually, Dad, if you're watching right now, you should let her know, if she's still awake at this point, that that I'm on, because she might want to see me. But anyway, yeah. And wait, ouch, what, Rizudego? Wait, are we disconnected? Hopefully we're still good. But anyway, yeah. Let me pick up the camera so I can show you my surroundings right now. You won't be able to hear because the microphone is over here. But yeah, let me just show you around a little bit. Yeah. Let's see. Now here is my setup right here. And then I haven't had time to actually organize anything in the tent properly, so it's driving me a little bit crazy. But yeah, I wanted to make sure. Yeah. Just a minute here. It's going to keep going in and out. I think the Starlink might currently be pointed at the trees that are around here. There's a lot of trees. I don't know if these are junipers or what, but they're definitely pretty. And they do provide a nice windbreak there, Andy. Yes, indeed. Shoot, as soon as I got into camp today, which was around, it must have been about 5:15, immediately starts raining. So I'm trying to set up the tent in the rain, and the wind is blowing and everything. And but yeah, anyway, it's I was able to get it up, and the rain stopped also. It's beautiful outside now. The sun is going down, and yeah. And Ios says, technically, I think you're still at 1080p, Danny, just FYI. Ios, would I actually have to restart the stream in order to change that? Because, let's see. I'm trying to change the settings on OBS right now. Yeah. And, oh, OBS not responding. What's going on here? All right, video. Yep, it still says 1980 by... Video output is currently active. Please turn off any outputs to change video settings. Okay, here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this for just a second, and I will be right back after I change the settings, okay? Let me do that real quick. Here we go. Okay, we should be back on. Hopefully you can see and hear me. Yeah. Am I back? Yeah, all right, excellent. Yeah, and that 720p, I just had to restart OBS, and that's what did it. Thank you, Ios. Yeah, good stuff. Let me put a light on over here, because it's going to start to get dark. Yeah. Oof. All right. And this side, I want it from that side. Okay. There we go. And there. That should be a bit better. Get our camera focused properly. I love this manual focus. It's so much better than autofocus. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, good stuff. Holy cow. Let me see if I can show you a picture of the outside of the tent. Yeah, there we go. This is while it was raining earlier. But, come on now. Oh boy. Chrome. There we go. Yeah. So that's the tent that I'm in right now. This is earlier when it was raining when I first got here. And, yeah. And this is all powered with the new solar setup. Exactly, Rizu Dago. Yeah, that's the whole reason that this is possible, you know? There's no electricity here at all. I gotta bring it with me or collect it from the sky. So, yeah. Yeah. Excellent. I'm excited. Yeah, Shay and Dusa, Golganek. Exactly. This is the tent that I'm gonna be in for about 2 months this summer. So, yeah. Yeah. I'm, feeling pretty good right now. Yeah. And off the grid stream. Exactly, Tommy Plodicus. Exactly. Thanks for your patience while we set all of this up and everything. But, yeah. Anyway, holy cow. I'm just really glad that this is working. And now that we're back on 720p, it looks like we're having fewer outages, which is good. So yeah, Danny's going back to nature. That's where I am every summer. Summers with Wales. Yes, indeed. Yeah. And I did not bring the machete. No, not this here, Arle. And you know what else? I was looking everywhere for my sleeping bag when I got here. I can't find it. I may have left my sleeping bag at home, but I've got plenty of blankets. And I might just have to get myself a new sleeping bag on my way out to actually doing fieldwork, you know? Yeah. So, anywho. Yeah. But that's okay. There's a significant delay, it seems, in between what I say and what comes in through the chat. So, yeah. And Nell says, do you have a mosquito net? I don't really need one. Where I'm going, there are hardly any mosquitoes at all, from what I understand. But yeah, and also this has got no-see mesh and everything, so as long as I keep the tent zipped up, should be pretty okay, you know? Yeah. But anyway, and Joshua Sweet says, who needs to sleep when there's so much fun to do? I mean, I need to sleep at night. So yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it's weird having the camera on this side. Usually I have it over here. I'm all thrown off. But yeah. Yeah. By a bug lamp. I mean, what would I power with, Miss Fett? Yeah, especially where I'm going to be in eastern Utah, where I was last summer. There's practically no bugs. Let me zip this up right now, though. Just in case. There we go. Yeah, much better. Anyway, yeah. There's one little gnat or something that got in here. But, yeah, anyway. Things are good. This is nice. Yeah. Anyway. And there's a bug. I mean, it's not a big deal. I'll be honest with you. I've been out in the outdoors. There's bugs out here. You know, they live here. I'm just here for the summer, you know? But, oh wait, did the Starlink go down? Yeah. And that sounds good, Arle. Yeah. Cool. Here we go. Let's try this. And there we are. Let's turn our volume up, and let's have a look at this.
Turquoise isn't the only gem hiding among the rocks in Nevada.
This is where I am right
there
now.
There are plenty of fossils to be found too. We traveled to Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park to look at the fossil of an ancient marine reptile that once made its home here. As I looked out the window, it was hard to imagine that 200 million years ago, a warm sea
225 million years ago,
and giant prehistoric ichthyosaurs swam where mountains now stand.
Yeah, so this is like a third of a mile from where I am right now. I actually would have gone to go see this. I'll have to do it first thing in the morning. I would have gone to go see this, but I got to camp pretty late, and I wanted to set up all this stuff so I could, you know, talk with all of you. So yeah.
I couldn't wait to learn more about Nevada's state fossil from Jeff Morris, a ranger.
Oh, and I think Jeff is who I was emailing with earlier. Excellent. This is gonna be great. So I think you are gonna be able to meet him tomorrow, hopefully. Very, very cool.
We'd arranged to meet at the park.
All right, what we're looking at right here is one of the largest species of ichthyosaur ever found. Its scientific name is
Shonosaurus
popularis, and it was named that because it's found here in the Shoshone Mountain Range, and then the popular effort brought about to have it excavated and eventually put on display inside.
Hey, by the way, Claire Burr, didn't you mention that this was the Shoshone Mountains here? You were absolutely right, Claire Burr. Very nice. Yeah.
The shelter.
So why is the eye so big?
The eye is so big is because these animals fed on what are called cephalopods, or your giant squid. Those are predominantly a deep water creature.
Oh, hang on. Were we gone for a minute here? Should I rewind a little bit? Shonosaurus, don't tell Nosaurus. There we go. So this is the guy we're going to be meeting tomorrow, I guess. Jeff Morris, who is the, I think, park supervisor here.
More about Nevada's state fossil from Jeff Morris, a ranger we'd arranged to meet at the park.
All right, what we're looking at right here is one.
Anyway, you already saw this.
Predominantly a deep water, eventually put on display inside the shelter.
Yeah, so this is before the shelter was built there. We're going to be in the shelter, which they said was called the Ark, apparently. But, yeah. I have been reading about this place and, dreaming of going here since I was a kid. And I'm very, very excited to be able to share this with you tomorrow. Holy cow. Yeah.
So why is the eye so big?
The eye is so big is because these animals fed on what are called.
So ichthyosaurs actually had the largest of eyes of any creature that's ever lived. Way bigger than the eyes of whales. Because these are probably mostly visual hunters. They didn't have echolocation. They didn't have the kind of biological sonar that whales have, that odontocetes whales, toothed whales have. Baleen whales don't have that. A lot of people don't realize it. Anyway, these guys were probably visual hunters, so they're spotting their prey visually, which is why they've got such big eyes.
Cephalopods, or your giant squid, those are predominantly a deep water creature found anywhere from 300 to 600 feet below the surface of the ocean. Why don't we head inside and start looking at the actual fossils?
Okay. Sounds great. A shelter has been built to protect the fossils and preserve them for future research.
Oh, and Allie J wants to know, were they bigger than a giant squid's eyes? Absolutely, yes. These are eyes like larger than a dinner plate. Enormous eyes on these critters. And bigger eyes than Marty Smarty Feldman? Presumably, Harley. Yeah.
If you guys want to stand next to me, we'll start looking at these fossils as they were found in the ground here. Anywhere you see a darkened area.
Is Marty Feldman, was he the one from Young Frankenstein? Yeah. And hey, Quitty, Auntie Kathy, how are you doing? Welcome. It's good to have you here. What's shaking? Yeah. Shoot, for anybody who's just tuning in, I'm broadcasting to you live from inside my tent out in the middle of nowhere, Nevada. There is no internet here, but
If you're feeling a bit cheated, try blaming the dinosaurs.
Why such big eyes, Grandma? The better to see you with.
There you go, Joshua Sweet. Thank you for the 100 bits. I appreciate that. But yeah, here, can I... Oh, I may have painted myself into a corner here. Here, I'm going to disconnect the camera real briefly. Hang on just a minute here. All right. We're still good. We're still good. Don't freak out. Okay. And let's see. All right, there we go. I had to do that to disentangle the cord so that I can show you around. I'm here in my tent. Here is my streaming setup here on the desk. And holy cow, Trek Nerd, thank you very much for those 29 months of support. Holy cow. I appreciate that, Trek Nerd. Thank you, thank you. So I got here much later than I was hoping to today. I didn't have nearly enough time to set things up, so tent is still a mess. I wanted to start streaming ASAP, so here we are. But that right there is the whole reason that we can do this. That is satellite internet. The Starlink is working. And if the stream stops at any point, well, you know it's the Starlink's fault, so you know who to blame. But anyway, yeah. Again, here at Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park in Nevada, and the sun is just going down over there. This is an awesome place. I tried to come here last year too. I was on a real time crunch, and I was on my way up to Elko, Nevada, and Google Maps gave me the wrong directions, which it also did today. But I didn't trust it today. I tried to figure things out on my own, and I got here. So yeah. Anyway, there we are. And here's where I'm going to be sleeping tonight. Got my cot all set up and everything. Really glad I have that because apparently, somehow I forgot.
That gives
my
the
sleeping
history
bag?
of life its very quirky, fortuitous, chancy character. We are literally here only because of the good fortune of dinosaur.
Ichthyosaur hunting
Dinosaur extinction. It's true.
Danny Paleo, not like this.
Thank you, 6-Foot Turkey. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's great to have you here. So yeah, Miss Yvette says that's why you use paper maps. I mean, this is such a remote area that I don't know. I should have printed out some paper maps in advance or something like that. But even the signage here was confusing. It's yeah, it's maybe not super difficult to understand why. I don't know. I wish more people were able to visit here, but they don't get very many visitors. It is so remote. I think this might be one of the more remote state parks in the United States. So yeah. I have to build my own sleeping bag out of rocks and mud. I mean, I've got 2 big wool army blankets. I'm gonna be fine. I'm just gonna have to order a sleeping bag and have it shipped to Salt Lake to the Utah Geological Survey, and I'll pick it up there. So yeah. And and Ragnarocker, what am I excavating or digging? So I'm not doing that tomorrow. This is gonna be in a couple weeks, about 12 days. But I'm gonna be out in Wyoming digging up a whole host of different dinosaurs, many of which are probably going to be new species. But it's going to be late Cretaceous stuff. Campanian, Maastrichtian boundary. So potentially the ancestors of dinosaurs like Triceratops, Tyrannosaurus, Pachycephalosaurus, etc. We'll see what we find. But much of the stuff's already been found. We just have to dig it up. But I think we've got a hadrosaur and a ceratopsian. So a duck-billed dinosaur and a horned dinosaur. Exciting stuff. Yeah. What am I doing in Nevada? I'm driving through, and I've never been here before. This is on my way. So I figured I'd stop here at Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park. And I'd do a live stream from the fossil shelter tomorrow. So that's what we're going to be doing. And it'll be at the normal streaming time, around 2 p.m. or so. So, yeah. Very exciting. And again, this is what we're going to be seeing tomorrow. Yeah.
Quarry, that's fossil material. That darker coloration comes from a preservative placed on the bone to keep it from weathering and cracking. So we'll start down
Thank
here
you,
at the letter
G10
A.
Cat.
This is
Cheers.
the top of the skull for the first animal. That's the area right above the eye socket, right through here. These two long sections of bone would be the jaw bones. They're out of place. They should come down from A to form a snout, which is shown here on the model. But somehow over time, after he decomposed, those jaw bones got pushed back towards the body. If you stretch those jaw bones out...
So this is what we're going to see tomorrow. I'm going to get another light.
If we could jump up to the letter B, we have two large bones at B. Those are known as coracoids. That's the chest bone region. And that leads us to the two letter C's, which is the start of the front flipper bones for this animal. So if you can imagine, he's swimming right down towards us just like this. Right above this letter C, we see the start of the rib cage. There's 3 or 4 rib bones. And that leads us to the backbone vertebrae up here at the letter D. You can follow the vertebrae from the letter D on up the crevice to the letter E, and up at the letter F starts the tailbone section for this animal. Unfortunately, there's only about 5 feet of tailbone vertebrae left. Most of it had eroded. When you add on the appropriate number of vertebrae and extend this animal's jaws out, this is our 56-foot specimen, or the one that's represented on the wall outside.
Wow.
To give you a few better close-up features of the skull here, you can see the eye socket is located on the side here. This is where the air passage would be, these being an air-breathing marine reptile.
There we go.
Over here we have one example of a tooth.
And it's therefore likely that we're here today because,
That's so loud.
by the luck of the draw, dinosaurs who had been dominant over mammals in ordinary times got felled in a mass extinction.
Yep. George from New York, thank you for the 11 months of support. I appreciate that tremendously. Thank you, thank you. And man, we're all crooked here. Let's see. There we go. And let's put that like this. And there we go. That'll work for now. Yeah. Excellent. But yeah. And is a 2 p.m. Pacific Miss Yvette, yes, normal stream time tomorrow or close to it. Here at Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park, if you actually want to go into the fossil shelter itself in here, they offer tours twice a day, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And I told Jeff that I would be there at 2 p.m. tomorrow. I'll show up a little bit early just in case. But yeah, I am very, very excited. Cross your fingers that everything works. We're going to be using a different stream setup with my mobile encoder and my Sony Action Cam and all that stuff. So yeah, cross your fingers that the Wi-Fi signal is good enough in there from the Starlink. I'm going to set up the Starlink dish outside. So cross your fingers that it has an unobstructed view of the sky and it works out there. And then that we're able to get the Wi-Fi in the building. And it looks like we might be back now. Yeah. Hopefully we are back now. Yeah. And yeah, Claire Burr is correct about that. Yes, I am 3'9", of course. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, wait, where were we? Let's get back to here. And gotta scoot this way over. There we are. That's better. Yeah. And the joys of satellite internet. I know, right, Scout? Yeah. I think part of that might be that the Starlink is partly obscured here. There are obstructions in the way. It's tilted in such a way that there's some trees and like a nice little, wooden shelter thing that they build here at the campgrounds. I've been impressed with these campgrounds. Very, very nice. But yeah. Anyway, hopefully it improves a bit when we are elsewhere, and there are no obstructions. So yeah, like when I'm in Wyoming or Utah, there's no trees, no buildings, nothing. Hopefully that makes it a bit better, you know? But yeah, anyway, let's finish up this video right here with Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park. There we are. Yeah.
Vertebrae and extend this animal's jaws out. This is our 56-foot specimen, or the one that's represented on the wall outside.
Wow.
To give you a few better close-up features.
Ooh, look at that. Holy cow. And R.A. Morley says, no trees. Sir, why though? It's too dry. Yeah. There are no trees in the part of Utah where I'm going to be digging. And probably in Wyoming, too, there's going to be no trees. In fact, that's usually the areas where we go and prospect for dinosaur fossils because, you know, the more bare rock that you have on the surface, the higher the likelihood is that you're going to find good fossils. You want exposed rock, and the more exposed rock you have, the more chance you have of actually finding good stuff. We don't find dinosaur fossils in places like rainforests or, you know, areas with lots of trees or anything like that. Not really. You go out to areas like Badlands or desert. That's where you find the good stuff, you know? So yeah. Erosion is good. Exactly, Rune Lore. Exactly. Erosion is the best friend of the paleontologist. And the worst enemy sometimes. We've got a love-hate relationship with the process of erosion. But yeah. Anyway, let's continue.
Pictures of the skull
Yeah.
here. You can see the eye socket is located on the side here. This is where the air passage would be, these being an air-breathing
Really
marine
spectacular.
reptile.
Spared no expense.
And thank you, Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Gifted a tier 1 sub to Olman 259.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Itsy Bitsy. Thanks for that gift sub
And
there.
over here we
Look,
have-
we're now 1/15th. There we go. 1/15th of the way to our sub goal for the day.
In at number 8, we have the Tradoon. Tradoon.
And Amelia Bedelia, thank you for those 15 months. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Good stuff. Yeah. And Mayor Space is correct, as usual. Yeah. Occasionally we'll find, like, weird one-off... Actually, coal mine dinosaurs, there have been a number of different dinosaur finds inside of coal mines. Some of them in Wyoming, actually, in the same general area where I'm going to be working in about 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks now. Holy cow. We might be leaving around the 12th or so. It's already June 1st. Holy moly. Year's almost halfway over. But yeah. And Thalo, were we meant to remind you to turn off alerts? No, I've got that covered, Thalo. In fact, I don't even have alerts set up for tomorrow's stream. I didn't have time. So, or there might be a few alerts. Might be a few alerts for tomorrow. We'll see if I have time to set them up. But yeah. And there were some trees. All right, Morley. Okay, yeah. Trees and fossil finding don't always go together. I'll put it that way. Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to this. Yeah.
I have one example of a tooth found from Shonosaurus. This was found out near Lovelock, Nevada. Its scientific name was Symbospondylis. And it was the largest ichthyosaur found throughout the world up until Shonosaurus was discovered.
Very cool.
Ichthyosaurs were pretty common in most ancient seas. As we left the site, I realized this makes their extinction all the more mysterious.
Yeah, it is strange. Why did the ichthyosaurs die out? Because they did really, really well for a long, long time. Ichthyosaurs actually predate the dinosaurs, I believe. They show up in like the very, very beginning of the Cretaceous, or very beginning of the Mesozoic, excuse me, beginning of the Triassic period. And then, yeah, they do really, really well until about the early or mid-Cretaceous. They were kind of dwindling since the Jurassic, and then they just disappear. That's before the dinosaurs, except for birds, go extinct at the end of the Cretaceous. It's before the mosasaurs or the plesiosaurs go extinct at the same time. Ichthyosaurs went before that, and we're not really sure why. It might have something to do with climate change, sea level rise or fall, something like that. Could be they could have been outcompeted by critters like mosasaurs or something. I'm not sure. But R.A. Morley says that's so strange that they just disappeared. I mean, that It just happens, you know? All creatures eventually go extinct, you know? You give a lineage long enough, it will go extinct. Um, yeah, pretty much. And yeah, for ichthyosaurs, it did. It took a long time. They were around for a lot longer than, say, mosasaurs or thalattosaurs or critters like that. But yeah, in disease, yeah, we often shy away from using disease as an explanation for like the extinction of different groups of animals, because it's really difficult to like pull that out in the fossil record. Evidence of disease is very rare, but also like as far as we can tell, diseases don't usually cause the extinction of a group. They might be like the final nail in the coffin, but you know, a group of animals will already be under sustained threat from climate change or from competition or from something else, you know? Disease is one of those things where it's like it's yeah. It might be the straw that breaks the camel's back, but it's usually not going to be something that knocks out a group that's been doing really well, if that makes sense. Good, my phone is charging. Excellent. So yeah, yeah. But yeah, anyway, good stuff. Anyway, and what was this? Nightbot. Oh yeah, there you go. Claire using the commands there. Excellent. Let's see if we can find another video about. Well, what are ichthyosaurs first of all? Let's get into some ichthyosaur hype, shall we? Talking about tomorrow. Yeah. Ichthyosaurs. Here, we'll take a look at this. I might get DMCA'd for this if I put it on YouTube, but you know what? We're gonna take that risk. Let's take a look.
While dinosaurs roamed the earth and pterosaurs ruled the sky,
Yep.
sea monsters called ichthyosaurs dominated the world's oceans.
There we go. Yeah.
Ichthyosaurs were ancient reptilian predators. They first appeared about 251 million years ago during the Triassic period, 20 million years before dinosaurs came about.
Which is important. Yeah, I mean, holy cow. That is pretty early. Yeah. And Batmandler says it's so different and nice to have the outdoors over your shoulder, watching the sky darken. Yeah, it is getting very dark out there. Holy cow. But yeah. Anyway, I hope everybody can still see me right now. I know my view count just keeps going up and down and up and down. I think it might be because we're cutting in and out with connectivity here. But yeah, ichthyosaurs. Cool critters. So excited to see some in situ tomorrow. Yeah.
True to their name, which means fish lizards in Greek, the earliest ichthyosaurs looked much like lizards with fins. Over the course of their 100 million year existence, their bodies transformed and became more akin to fish in shape. They had long, narrow skulls.
A secret moment in the very beginning of this strange dinosaur's life.
Like the very beginning of your subscription journey there, Dragon Fairy. Thank you for the 2 months of support. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. Good stuff. And the stars will be great, Trek Nerd. And I've got my good binoculars in the glove compartment of my car, so I might do some stargazing tonight. Yes, indeed. Yeah. This is oh boy, this is the wrong skull. They're showing the wrong skull here.
Here's some objects, gorgeous gargantuans and authentic.
Majat.
Because though they died out so long ago, their fossil bones remain, so we know just
Thank
what
you.
they were like and can even sculpt them into still, or rather extinct, life.
Holy cow, Majat. I really appreciate that. I appreciate your support tremendously. Oh, by the way, I got some amazing things in the mail yesterday from the wish list. The music stand that I was hoping for like looking at documents and stuff like that while I'm streaming. And just for like various stream stuff, it's good to have another tripod kind of dealy. Another earbud that I can use. a backup so that, yeah, we're never without that. And then, holy cow, a rain poncho, which I actually used today. Very excited about that when it was raining here. And, holy moly, the Geiger counter, the radiation detector, the dosimeter. Very, very excited about that. And whoever sent that, I think I know who it was because there was a note that was with it. Man, are they a high roller. Holy moly. And Nana Tyrannus says, Danny, you're coming in really clear. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you, Nana. Welcome. It's getting dark out there. Yeah.
Really spectacular. Spared no expense.
We got these lights here being powered by solar power.
One sub to someone called Ragnaroka.
And thank you, Madam 33. Appreciate that, Matt. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, excellent. So anyway, I've got that Geiger counter, and I can use that on those Utah dinosaur fossils, which are rumored to be radioactive. We can test that hypothesis live on stream. Very excited about that. So yeah. And bat time, I can hear some nighthawks around. I'm sure there will be some bats too, but nighthawks, definitely, I can already hear them. Very cool. Yeah. And Ragnaroker, I have no idea. I'm not familiar with that. Beast Wars, I'm not familiar. Yeah. But yeah. And interesting, Itsy Bitsy. Very interesting. Well, when I'm out in the field with Jim Kirkland, we'll be talking all about the radioactive, mildly radioactive nature of some of those dinosaur fossils out there. So yeah. And quite welcome. Matt, were those from you? Oh, the gift sub was from you. Okay. Right. And I did bring the ukulele missivat. Yes, indeed. I've got that. So yeah. Anyway, let's get back to our video here. And this is kind of embarrassing. National Geographic used the wrong skull. This is the skull of a polycotylid plesiosaur, it looks like. Like maybe polycotylus or another one of these short-necked plesiosaurs. That's not an ichthyosaur skull. It's just not. Yeah.
More akin to fish in shape. They had long, narrow skulls and...
Yeah, see how that's different? Like they've got all these post-orbital fenestrae and stuff in the skull here. This is not the same animal. This is an entirely different group of reptiles. This is like having a polar bear skeleton over here, and then over here is the skeleton of a river otter. It's like, yeah, they're very different. Actually, these two are more different than a river otter from a polar bear. It's a bigger difference than that. Oh yeah.
And jaws that were lined with sharp
those
teeth.
Are ichthyosaur teeth, yeah.
These teeth were used to catch prey like fish and squid.
Upload speed is not great. Okay, I think we're back now. I think we're back. Yeah, my upload speed is not the greatest at the moment. Yeah, Starlink. Even something to be desired here, but I am back. Yes. Anyway, let's get back to this. Oh,
their eyes were the...
Shoot. Right there. What kind of fish is this? Anybody think they know? Might be this same kind of fish right here. Favorite fish of many paleontologists. Favorite non-tetrapod fish, I should say. But yeah, it is a coelacanth. Very good, Brandington. Very good. That is a coelacanth. And 5280 Andy, It is probably long enough for me to put it on top of the shelter, but I'm not that tall. And also, I don't have time for that. We're going to wrap this up before.
These early sea monsters died out is still a mystery.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Maybe we'll watch one more video, and then I'll think about wrapping things up here. Because I've got to get some shut-eye, because we've got a big day ahead of us tomorrow. We are going to be... Yeah... Well, shoot, let's watch this from PBS Eons, actually.
In the warm seas of the Triassic, there appeared a new kind of predator. It was a nimble hunter of fish and squid. And it was a reptile, even though it had some features that were distinctly fish-like, such as flippers, a dorsal fin, and a tail fluke. It's known today as Californosaurus, and it was an ichthyosaur.
Yeah. Very cool. Ichthyosaurs, for whatever... Yeah, I think we've got Nevadasaurus, too. The state fossil of the state of Nevada, where I am right now, is some kind of ichthyosaur. It might be Shonosaurus. But yeah, and I think it is from California, right?
Marine reptile that played a pivotal role in shaping ocean life throughout the Mesozoic era. Ichthyosaurs arose after the catastrophic extinction event at the end of the Permian period, which wiped out at least 90% of life in the oceans, changing the seas forever and triggering a new evolutionary arms race between predator and prey. And in these turbulent times, the ichthyosaurs turned out to be true pioneers, innovators, because they helped create roles in the oceans that had not existed before. They got better at crunching through the shells of ammonites, flushing out bivalves on the seafloor, and higher up on the water column, hunting fish and other reptiles. And in time, their prey diversified too, and developed better defenses, like harder shells, spines, and more mobility. This dynamic between predator and prey marked a revolution in marine life, a sea change, if you will. It began just after the world's oceans had been at the brink of extinction, and it continues to this day. And the ichthyosaurs were some of the key players in this remarkable transformation. As it turns out, these strange marine reptiles wouldn't be able to see this change through to the very end. But the fact is, the ocean life that lives among us today is a product of that time when the ichthyosaurs helped revolutionize the seas.
Yep. Very cool.
When fossils of ichthyosaurs...
This is exciting. And shoot, this is very pertinent because just the other day, I printed this, which is this is Waterhouse Hawkins' model of an ichthyosaur. Ichthyosaurus, in fact. I actually brought this just in case we were able to do a live stream like we're doing tomorrow from the fossil shelter, and I intend to award this to whoever the person is in charge there as a token of our appreciation. So yeah, but this is a really old school ichthyosaur depiction, a lot like the one that you see right here. I 3D printed this, obviously, but it's an exact model of the, well, it's basically scanned from this. Here we go. ichthyosaur, ichthyosaur. Not the easiest word to spell. But there we go. Yeah. There she is. Yeah. There we are. So this is actually one of like the earliest extinct creatures to be reconstructed for the public like this. So like this is a big deal. And yeah. I'm really excited to hopefully, be able to gift this tomorrow. But yeah, that was one of these. There we go. Yeah, and I think he's going to talk about that here. The eyes are interesting. Yeah, Amelia Bedelia, the eyes are There are sclerotic ossicles inside, and I don't think we'll get a chance to see these tomorrow. I don't think we actually have any eyes in the actual fossil shelter itself. But ichthyosaur eye, here we go. Yeah. So those are the bones inside the eye. A lot of creatures have this. They're what we call sclerotic ossicles, or the sclerotic ring. It reminds me of like a pineapple ring. But yeah, anyway, those are bones that are there in the eyeball to help support it. So yeah. Mammals don't have this. So we don't have this. Dogs and cats and lions and tigers and bears, camels and whales, they don't have this. Crocodiles don't have it either for whatever reason, but most reptiles have it. Birds have it. Most fishes have it. Most vertebrate animals have it, except mammals and except crocodiles for whatever reason. But ichthyosaurs definitely had it. Dinosaurs had it too, just like their bird descendants. But those are the sclerotic ossicles. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. And yes, the Prius is packed very tight. Yes, indeed. I was telling you about that, Nana. Yeah. It'll be packed not quite as tight tomorrow because I'll have a little bit more time for rearranging things tomorrow, which will be nice. But yeah. Anyway, those eyes are pretty cool.
Ichthyosaurs were first discovered in the early 1800s. They were, to put it mildly, baffling. The more complete specimens, like those found by Mary Anning.
There we go. We talked all about Mary Anning on a special birthday stream for her. She brought Ichthyosaurus to the world. I mean, her brother Joseph discovered the skull, which was the easy part. She went and later found the rest of the skeleton. And her discoveries changed the world. So Mary Anning, her story is intertwined with that of Ichthyosauria. And this is a beautiful lead up. Holy cow, this is a beautiful lead up to our stream tomorrow. Cross your fingers that everything goes well. Yeah.
In England, revealed animals that were shaped a lot like
good.
fish.
I'm glad you like that, Amelia.
Streamlined profiles, fins, and powerful tails. But their bones were distinctly reptilian.
Yeah.
Today, we know that ichthyosaurs are a group of marine reptiles that were actually descended from terrestrial ancestors that made their way back to the sea. This unusual journey began right after the biggest extinction event in Earth's history, the Permian-Triassic extinction, also known as the Great Dying. Because of this event, some 252 million years ago, many of the marine animals that had defined life in the Permian period just vanished, including 98% of crinoids, 80% of brachiopods, and all of the trilobites. Poor guys.
R.I.P.
But for the
those
survivors,
trilobites,
this
yeah.
catastrophe presented an opportunity and left a lot of niches or environmental roles open for organisms to fill, including roles for new predators. Now, predation itself first became a thing some 540 million years ago, during that burst of evolutionary complexity known, of course, as the Cambrian explosion. But after the Great Dying, the complexity of marine life ramped up to a new level. Some predators acquired new abilities, like being able to crush shells or bore into them. And some prey species responded by developing harder, spinier shells. And some predators even began hunting other predators. Suddenly, the food webs of the ocean became much more complex. This restructuring of sea life came to be known as the Mesozoic Marine Revolution, in which predators and prey radiated into new forms and lifestyles in a sort of evolutionary arms race. And this revolution is actually still underway today. You could say that the world's oceans, even now, continue to respond to the disaster of the Great Dying. But at the start of the Mesozoic Marine Revolution, some of the leading figures were the ichthyosaurs. The earliest ancestor of the ichthyosaurs appeared just around 4 million years after the Great Dying. It was probably a reptile that spent most of its...
By the way, how cute is this? Holy cow, look at that. I love this rendering of an early ichthyosaur up on a beach. Like, it's so strange to think of these guys moving up onto the beach, but back in Victorian times, everybody assumed they did this, But at some point, the earliest of ichthyosaurs would have had to have been transitional between life in the sea and life on land. So there had to have been amphibious ichthyosaurs, ones that spent part of their time in the water and part of their time on land. So yeah. Very cool.
Time in the ocean, but could also haul itself onto land, kind of like a seal. And one of the
Cardaricus is
oldest
that
true
genus there.
ichthyosaurs appears in the fossil record very soon after that. For example, Chowhusaurus was a fully aquatic ichthyosaur, and thanks to a fossil of a female found in China with embryos still intact, we know that it gave birth to live young, like all ichthyosaurs did. But Chowhusaurus still looked kind of like a finned lizard. The first ichthyosaurs to adopt more familiar shapes, ones that looked more like sharks or porpoises, wouldn't appear until later, in the Middle Triassic period. One of these was Phalerodon. It used its streamlined body to keep up with its prey, which had become faster and more nimble as the Mesozoic marine revolution continued. And this sleek body plan made these reptiles look a lot like fish or marine mammals, even though they're not closely related to either, like at all. Sharks had been around for hundreds of millions of years before ichthyosaurs showed up, and marine mammals like porpoises wouldn't show up until more than 200 million years later. So each of these groups converged separately on the same body plan and the undulating style of movement that these bodies made possible, known as tuniform locomotion. In tuniform swimming, most of the
Clearburst says, do you think pinnipeds are on their way to being all marine, no land? I don't know. You know what? They've been around for long enough. Pinnipeds have been around. Pinnipeds are seals, sea lions, walruses. They've been around for long enough that they, I think if they would have, if that was going to happen, it probably would have happened already, I suspect. Because I think pinnipeds have been around for about 30 or 40 million years at this point. Whales, they became fully marine very quickly. Pinnipeds, seals, sea lions, walruses, they, I don't know, they've got a pretty good gig going. You know, being able to spend most of their time in the water, but also being able to come up on land. It works really well for them. I think I've got no reason to think that they're gonna fast track for being fully marine anytime soon. If it hasn't happened yet, I don't think it's gonna happen. However, sea otters, I do kind of wonder if sea otters will ever become fully marine. You know? Millions of years in the future, if those wonderful creatures are able to survive for that long, you know? But yeah, it's funny watching sea otters move around on land. They're so awkward looking. Because they've got these big, their feet are so long and their hands are so small. They're really, should we find that? Let's find that real quick. Give me just a second here. And let me show you sea otters on land. Here we go. Yeah. There's a sea otter there. They don't come ashore often, you're right, Golganek. However, near Monterey, California, I actually, oh, here we go. Going up onto land. You'll see how awkward they are on land. Yeah. Yeah. See how much they've got these little tiny hands and these big long floppy feet. Yeah. They're really funny. So I would not be shocked if, I don't know. It's not too difficult to imagine these animals fully committing to the ocean. Kind of like whales did at some point. Yeah. Oh, what a silly critter. Yeah. So yeah, anyway, to bring it back around to ichthyosaurs, at some point there must have been an ichthyosaur that was kind of in between land and water, like this sea otter. Yeah. But yeah, anyway.
So each of these groups converged separately on the same body plan and the undulating style of movement that these bodies made possible, known as tuniform locomotion. In tuniform swimming, most of the power is generated by the motion of the tail, while while the front half of the animal stays still. This makes for fast and efficient movement through open water. Now, ichthyosaurs came in a range of sizes, from Mixosaurus at about 1 meter long to Shonosaurus, which was more than 20 meters long.
Whom we are going to see tomorrow. Shonosaurus popularis. This might be Shonosaurus nevadans, or different species of Shonosaurus. But, anyway, yeah. This is the critter that we're going to see tomorrow. Provided everything works out well, as it will. Cross your fingers, you know? Yeah.
Rivaling some of today's largest whales. And this range in size went a long way in helping the reptiles occupy a variety of niches in the Mesozoic seas. Some became generalists and ate cephalopods and fish, or just scavenged on whatever they could find. But others were ram feeders. They just kept moving forward and ate whatever was scooped up in their mouths, which is usually what I do. There were also shell crushers that harvested ammonites and bivalves, and there were even macropredators that hunted other ichthyosaurs. And together, all of these feeding mechanisms actually created newer, more complex interactions between predator and prey than the oceans had seen before, with new niches to exploit and new layers forming in marine food webs. For example, as the shells of bivalves became stronger and more resistant to predators, the niche opened up for a new kind of hunter, like the ichthyosaur known as Tholodus, which had bigger, rounded, blunt teeth that could break open shells. And in time, there were so many new predators that some ichthyosaurs started to prey on them, like Thalodoarchon, the so-called sovereign of the sea. And ichthyosaurs also occupied both shallow water and open ocean ecosystems, with many genera living all over the world. By the Triassic period, Earth's oceans had become a different place, and this would become the heyday of the ichthyosaurs, like our old friend Californosaurus. But this golden age wouldn't last long, because the end of the Triassic was marked by yet another extinction event, the Triassic-Jurassic mass extinction. The exact trigger of this event is still being debated, but one possibility is massive bursts of volcanic activity that took place as the supercontinent of Pangaea started to split up. What we do know is that toward the end of the Triassic, many clades of ichthyosaurs started to disappear. In the end, only the more porpoise-like reptiles that lived in the deep open ocean would make it into the Jurassic.
Ones like Ichthyosaurus, for instance.
Allosaurus. Ancient predecessor.
And Basil, thank you for the 5 months. Appreciate that very much. Yeah.
Meat eater with long dagger-like teeth.
Good stuff. Thank you, Basil. I appreciate you.
And this lack of diversity might have been the beginning of their undoing. These survivors included generalists, specialists that ate soft-bodied prey, and some apex predators, like Temnodontosaurus, which got to be as long as 9 meters. In fact, most of these deep ocean ichthyosaurs were on the big side, and what's more, many had the biggest eyes relative to body size of any animal in history. Some species, like Ophthalmosaurus, had eyes the size of soccer balls, which helped them hunt in deep, dim waters. But as the Jurassic progressed, another—
Holy cow, imagine if you had eyes the size of soccer balls like those ichthyosaurs. That's incredible.
Another change was in the works. Ichthyosaurs soon faced competition from other animals, including plesiosaurs, marine crocodiles, and sharks. And some of these competitors would even come to prey on the ichthyosaurs themselves. Still, ichthyosaurs made it through—
I'm sorry, what was that? It's like a weird composite image. That's a nothosaur right there from like the Triassic. And then you've got these ichthyosaurs. Supposed to be juveniles? I don't know what that's about.
And some of these competitors would even come to prey on the ichthyosaurs themselves. Still, ichthyosaurs made it through the Jurassic and into the Cretaceous period, where they managed to hold on to similar niches that they occupied in the Jurassic. One of the most common ichthyosaurs of the Cretaceous period was Platypterygius, a big hunter that included more than a half-dozen species, and whose remains have been found around the world, including Australia, the Americas, and Europe. But in the late Cretaceous, the diversity of the ichthyosaurs dropped dramatically, and it would never recover. The first to go were the generalists and the soft prey specialists around 100 million years ago. About 5 million years later, mostly apex predators remained, and they were unable to branch into new niches. Fossils at this time show that existing species were going extinct faster than new ones were appearing. Ichthyosaurs had just become too specialized and too few in number. Finally, around 93 million years ago, the last of the apex predators, like Platypterygius, disappeared. Ichthyosaurs had vanished from the fossil record. So, what caused the demise of an animal that persisted for more than 150 million years?
Indeed.
Well, as is often the case, no one knows for sure, but there are a few possibilities. One idea is that they were outcompeted by new ocean hunters, like predatory fish and mosasaurs. But mosasaurs had already been around for a long time, and the really big mosasaurs didn't appear until after the ichthyosaurs had vanished. Another idea has to do with what happened to the climate at the start of the late Cretaceous. Studies of limestone that formed in the seas at this time show that oxygen levels dropped sharply.
This might actually be the same thing that caused the extinction of the Spinosaurs, which I think may have been around the same time, end of the Cenomanian. Yeah, here, let's take a look at this. Linear time, please. Yeah, there we go. End of the Cenomanian. So whatever killed the ichthyosaurs may have also killed my beloved spinosaurs too, who disappear around the same time, which is interesting. And the reason I'm kind of whispering right now is it's very dark outside. I'm here at a campground, and I don't want to be obnoxious and keep anybody up. So, yeah.
It's known as an anoxic event, and it's thought to have started with a change in ocean temperatures, which then disrupted circulation patterns. The change in circulation may have deprived some ocean layers of oxygen, causing marine life to suffocate. This phenomenon began about 100 million years ago and continued for about 7 million years until it culminated in a major anoxic event.
Yeah, and so King of the Nerds wants to know if the oxygen levels dropped, what would have taken its place? CO2? Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. It's kind of similar to what seems to be going on in the ocean today because of increased atmospheric carbon, because of human emissions.
Marine invertebrates, including some cephalopods that were a main source of food for the ichthyosaurs, went extinct. And their extinction coincides with the last appearance of ichthyosaurs in the fossil record. So unlike all those other times in the past, the ichthyosaurs couldn't bounce back like they had before. By the late Cretaceous, ichthyosaurs had become very good at what they did, but they hadn't really expanded into new niches. And when this happens, animals can be more vulnerable to extinction, especially if something drastic happens to the few environments that they're still adapted to. But the important thing to remember here is that the niches that they formed and filled continue to exist and were taken over by other animals. Mid-sized mosasaurs, like Platycarpus, for example, became the new common generalists in the world's oceans. And narrow-toothed mosasaurs, like Pleurodens, took over the role of specializing on soft-body prey. And the title of apex predator was eventually handed off to the megamosasaurs, like Tylosaurus. And when all of these reptiles also went extinct, other animals replaced them. And those roles still exist today. These days, marine generalists include many species of sharks and dolphins. And there are still specialists in soft prey, like beaked whales. And of course, there are still apex predators, like orcas and great whites, as well as shell crushers in the form of stingrays, and many more. So the ichthyosaurs didn't see the Mesozoic through to the end, but they did last for a staggering 157 million years, making them one of the world's great.
To my knowledge,
If you
no.
spot this strange sign
Oh, and hang on. I think we're back.
on the side of the road,
Hang on. Ooh. This is where I'm at right now. Check it out.
If you spot this strange sign on the side of the road, chances are you're inside the Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park, a well-preserved mining camp that also houses the world's greatest collection of ichthyosaur fossils, most of which have been left in the ground, protected by structures built over them. It's hard to grasp just how big they were until you compare a life-size likeness of one of these behemoths to, say, a burly human visitor.
You wouldn't want to be swimming in the water and see one coming up to you.
Definitely not. They had 36 conical-shaped teeth in each jaw.
And could eat pretty much anything, I would imagine.
When they saw it and swam after it, if they could catch it, they would eat it.
State Park Ranger Mike Dinauer says about 10,000 people a year make the trek to Berlin to check out the undisputed heavyweight champ of the prehistoric seas. Millions of years ago, all of this was covered by water. It's possible that natural upheavals caused the Nevada ichthyosaurs to be trapped here, explaining why so many fossils...
That's not why. No, these critters died in like 100 feet of water. It's not like they got beached because mountains came up under them. No, these mountains are very new compared to the ichthyosaur fossils. Those ichthyosaur fossils have been there for 225 million years. Back when this was the bottom of a deep sea.
It's Marvin! Your cousin!
Miss Morph, thank you for the raid.
You know that new sound you look
Appreciate that.
Well, listen to this!
Man, that is loud. Thank you, Smorphosaurus. Holy cow. Good stuff. I hope you had a great stream. Welcome, welcome, Smurf. Yeah. By the way, Smurf, I brought the shirt that you sent me. So I've got that here with me while I am out for the field season. So I'll probably wear that sometime soon, but you'll see it soon. Anyway, appreciate you, Smurf. It's good to have you here. Here, let's get back to where we were here.
were found around Berlin.
These mountains are about 30 million years old, and the ichthyosaurs were actually uplifted with the mountains.
It's hard to realize it's real, that
I
it
do
was
want to see
real,
Smurf, yeah.
that it
Show me.
swam in the ocean.
Much closer to home, the Nevada State Museum at Lorenzi Park houses the largest collection of excavated ichthyosaur parts, cataloged inside dozens of boxes.
Very, very cool. This is not what we're going to see. We're going to see the stuff in situ, on site. Yeah. And it'll be about my normal stream time ought to do it, about 2 p.m. tomorrow. Or thereabouts. Yeah.
Treasure trove for paleontologists.
This is some of the original stuff that was found in.
This is the stuff. This is the type fossil of Shonosaurus popularis. So if anybody wants to know what it looks like, they come and look at these.
Ichthyosaurs are not exclusive to Nevada. They're found on every continent except Antarctica. And it was an ichthyosaur
I think we might have ichthyosaurs from Antarctica now, too, actually, yeah.
found in another country that set off a debate about the Silver State's ichthyosaurs. A paleontologist looked at one of these huge flippers and decided Nevada's Shonosaurus popularis must have been an underwater flyer, moving through the ocean like birds move through the air. In scientific circles, that's a mighty bold theory.
Yeah, what?
Certain to set off heated debate, and it did. This Discovery Channel video shows the common notion of an ichthyosaur swimming like a normal fish, using its tail for propulsion and the flippers for steering. Proponents of the flippers as wings theory are sticking to their guns, but the majority of scientists have come down on the side of the swimmers, not flyers version.
I think something that's this shape probably didn't fly through the water. When we're talking about flying through the water,
it's like a penguin,
we're talking about the sort of movement that penguins do, where
Yeah.
they're using their flippers to actually propel them. If you think about a penguin, they don't have much tail.
Despite how enormous these
No, they
flippers
don't.
are, they're not that big when compared to the
Penguins, famously. Very short tails.
When they don't have much tail.
Despite how enormous these flippers are, they're not that big when compared to the entire ichthyosaur, and that's why Barbara Adams says it wouldn't be a very efficient way to travel. This specimen did fly through the water, but it had much larger
that's a
flippers and more
plesiosaur,
of them.
yeah.
Even if the flipper mystery is solved, there's plenty of other ichthyosaur oddities to ponder.
Was it essentially the biggest eye around?
Yes, and this is sort of a clay model.
The miners who searched for ore around Berlin didn't know what these petrified vertebrae were, but found them convenient nonetheless.
The miners around the Berlin area used to find these, and they'd use them for dinner plates and doorstops.
One thing that isn't debatable, whether they flew or swam, 225 million years ago, the ichthyosaur had no equal.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, excellent. I am so excited to show you that tomorrow. Cross your fingers that everything goes according to plan, that we're able to get the Starlink set up there, and that it's able to get decent signal and all that good stuff. Yeah. But yeah, anywho, it is about time to wrap this up, because I've got some organization to do. I've got a lot of stuff to take care of. And then I got to get some sleep, because it's going to be an early morning tomorrow. So let's see who else is streaming on Twitch right now. And we will go ahead and raid into them. Let's see. We're going to go raid into Bulent, Cyan Streams. There we go. Yeah. And can we get our credits going? Let's try that. That may or may not work. Looks like credits are not going to work right now, but that's okay. I feel really lucky to be able to be streaming at all right now, you know? But don't go away just yet. We are going to go right into Science Streams. Thank you to everybody who tuned in today. Thank you for the well wishes, the resubscriptions, and yeah, and the 3 gift subs too. I really appreciate that. Anyway, without further ado, we're going to go say hello to Science Streams. And 2 p.m. Pacific tomorrow, ichthyosaur stream. Don't miss it. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.